Hello and welcome. Today we will discuss the Hindu newspaper of 4th March. Appointments to the Election Commission and its Supreme Court verdict. The recently Supreme Court in a landmark judgment has said that it is very important to preserve independence of the Election Commission. That is why the appointment of the election commissioners cannot be sole domain of executives. Therefore, the Supreme Court has directed to implement a panel consisting of Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition and Chief Justice of India who will suggest names for appointment to the President. Earlier, the Prime Minister used to suggest names for appointment to the President. But now the Constitutional Bench has pointed out that the original intent of the Constitution makers was that there should have been a laid down law by Parliament to appoint election commissioners. But no such law have been laid down till date. Therefore, now until the law is laid down for appointment of election commissioners, this panel suggested by Supreme Court will recommend names for appointment of election commissioners. There can be question about this in UPSC Mains GS2. Therefore, I have given a sample question for you to write. Please write answer on this and comment in the box, and I will give you feedback for this. Second news is about Consumer Court judges. Supreme Court recently have eased norms for selection of Consumer Court president and members to ensure that young talent is attracted towards these bodies. Supreme Court has also introduced written exam and viva to ensure the quality of the candidates and their performance. The consumer courts have powers as that of civil courts in many aspects, and these courts are established by Consumer Protection Act and Rules 2020. These rules are to be amended, but government is yet to come up with a final proposal. So till then, Supreme Court have intervened and reduced the mandatory experience year from 20 to 10 so that younger talent is attracted to preside over the consumer courts. So remember this, there can be question about consumer courts. Then there is news about El Nino and La Nina. WMO, World Meteorological Organization, is predicting that the El Nino event may return after consecutive 3 years of La Nina. These El Nino, La Nina and ENSO, these three events are very, very important from point of view of prelims geography. So what is El Nino and La Nina? These are basically atmospheric patterns that influence the warming and cooling of sea surface temperature in central and equatorial Pacific Ocean. These are two opposing patterns, and that these two patterns occur in a cycle, and that cycle is called ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. I have tried to incorporate some basic facts about El Nino, La Nina and ENSO and its effect in India. Please go through it. So what happens during El Nino? During El Nino, surface temperature in equatorial Pacific rises, and it causes easterly trade winds to weaken or reverse, thereby bringing the warm water from western Pacific towards Americas, and thereby upwelling in the western coast of America is reduced, thereby reducing the phytoplankton growth across the western coast of America, and thereby reducing the fish yield in these areas. And this name of this El Nino is a simple translation of little boy or Christ child in Spanish language. Similarly, there is an event called La Nina, which is opposite of El Nino, and this is translation of girl child or the girl, and it is opposite of El Nino. So it causes cooling of sea surface temperature across equatorial Pacific region, and the easterly trade winds get stronger than usual, which pushes water towards Asia, and upwelling increases, bringing nutrient rich waters to the surface across West American coast. This leads to drier condition in southern US and heavy rainfall in northwest and Canada. The La Nina also makes winter temperature warmer in south and cooler in north of the US. La Nina has also been associated with heavy rainfalls in heavy flooding in Australia, and that is why we have seen heavy flooding in last two consecutive events of La Nina in Australia. Then on ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. This is a combination of El Nino, La Nina and the neutral state between two opposite effects. And what is the effect of these events on India? The El Nino causes weak rainfall and more heat. That is why IMD is concerned if El Nino returns, then it can cause drought-like condition and more heat waves in India, whereas La Nina intensifies rainfalls across South Asia including India. There can be definite question in prelims about these events, so please go read and revise these events properly. Then third news is about Kuno National Park. Recently 20 cheetahs have been brought from Africa and they have been introduced in this Kuno National Park. They are facing scarcity of prey to sustain. That is why this is a news, so there can be question on this. This have been news in past also, and therefore the Rajasthan is offering that Mukundra Tiger Reserve is one of the good area for introduction of cheetahs. So you can read about this tiger reserve also and Kuno National Park also, and map these two tiger reserves. There can be question on these too. The next news is about World Bank to lend $1 billion to support India's health sector. Recently, World Bank has announced $1 billion of support to flagship scheme of Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission. So go and read about Ayushman Bharat. That can be question in prelims. The next news is about summer scheme. Recently, Ministry of Textile has sought partnership from private sector for implementation of this scheme. So what is the summer scheme? This is a umbrella skilling program of Ministry of Textile. So there can be question in